joining us for this episode of Outside of the Box. We're going to be talking today about some of the questions that have come up recently in the City Builders or possibly submitted through Twitter or Facebook. We've got a couple of them inside this box, and I will start by taking the first question out of it.
There's a couple special ones from via carrier pigeon as well.
Yes, yes. I had to clean that one off. All right, the first question. Is there an easy way to get birthday info for our church?
Yes.
Rachel?
There is. It's actually a newer feature in the admin panel under if you're a user admin, correct?
Yes.
Yes. It's that new. If you're a user admin, you can run a birthday list that you can look up all the birthdays for the month of October or November and either message that person or run an actual export with addresses so you can send out birthday postcards or actual cards or whatever you want to do. Yeah.
It's a really cool feature because you used to have to do some multiple steps, and they've brought it to the surface, so it's just a couple clicks. It's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Next question?
Sure. Why do you get to draw them off?
Because I read them better. Can you explain the new way to embed a video?
I can explain the new way to embed a video. Thanks for asking, Karen. Many of you probably have noticed we now have the ability to embed a direct video link from YouTube or Vimeo. And what we mean by that is you used to have to do some wizardry, if you will, to be able to put brackets and other different characters in to be able to embed a video. Now you can just take your YouTube URL and insert it into a post. So I could write a paragraph of text explaining what video I want to tell as part of training, and then just on the next line embed that YouTube video. Then more text, just like you could with the URL embed before with all the characters, and it will render exactly and be right in the place that you put the link. All you have to do, copy and paste that link from Vimeo or YouTube, and it works perfectly. So it should save you some time. The good news, and I think this is probably where the question is coming from, you don't have to edit any of your previous video links. It will still work using the old way. It's just the new way is simpler. And so hopefully it'll get a lot more usage from small groups and others.
So no brackets.
No brackets.
Copy the URL, paste it into the
That's it.
message.
Next song. Move on.
Next
That's
question? You mean?
Well,
Just kidding.
let Rachel do it.
Okay. Fine. It's so much fun. It's like Christmas.
Very timely question. How do I rally volunteers for all of our holiday serving opportunities?
Go ahead.
Yeah, very timely as we have Thanksgiving, Christmas, busy time for everyone. I'll take at least one, and then I'm sure we all have different answers for it. I think that obviously, start with the kind of the basic. I mean, you have everything from service opportunities where you can, if need be, post needs just specific for your different groups or service teams that need maybe some extra help for different services and things like that. So you can piggyback those service opportunities. The second one I would say is skills. I think searching for skills is huge. This is one, churches do, everything from living Christmas trees to pageants to just a normal service. So if you need everything from stage, more audio, video guys, more camera people, you want to do a campaign and get all kinds of pictures and stuff like that, you can search by skill for photographers and others and then be able to message those specific people. And I think this is the difference. You can just say, hey, we need help, but you can also message the specific person who's already said, I would love to help with this. And that is, at least we found, way more effective. If someone's already said, I can help, they're more likely to not feel like, oh, someone else took care of that.
Go ahead.
I think it's also a good idea to utilize promotions for various things. So You can use a dynamic link to send people straight to the service opportunities page or straight to at least the accounts, their account settings page to, like if you're going to do a campaign, to have them fill out their skills. If they haven't, you could point them there, like even, the next month or so before it really ramps up. Or if you're creating different groups for the different service opportunities, like for big, the actual Christmas pageant or whatever, you could create a self-join URL where it's like, want to volunteer, join this group. So there's lots of various ways you can use promotions to really get have them, their eye is naturally drawn to graphics. So, and promotions show up in emails from the city as well. So it's just another way.
I think you can create temporary groups as well. So we have our weekly serving opportunities. So we have a greeting group and we have a ushers group, for example, but we might set up 2 temporary groups and call it the front of house, back of house groups and set up the self-join. But I think it's also important, let's not forget that the city isn't our only way of communicating this. If we can talk about this from the stage, if we can tell people this is why we're looking for volunteers, this is what we want to do. By the way, we have our groups set up on the city. First of all, it's a great opportunity to help people connect and get them on the city. But then also, if we just expect people to find it on the city, it's a little too passive. And where if we can direct them there and say, hey, we're doing this, we need your help, here's how you do it. I've even seen little business cards handed out at the end of a service, or a little flyer, or a little postcard, things like that.
I had a church once that did a Christmas tea or something like that. It was a mother-daughter Christmas tea, and it was huge in their community. And so they had, I don't know, close to 300 people who would show up to this. And each year they had a Christmas tree group, exactly what you guys are describing, where it was an auto self-join, so you could join if you wanted to volunteer and help out. But what they did is each year that group was archived and then unarchived, right now, about October, and then all the conversations or any of the featured topics that had the information about it and any of the kind of organization was always there. And so they could just archive it, unarchive it, and they would put out a message that said, hey, if you want to help again, stay in this group. If you don't, feel free to leave. It's not a big deal. You're not roped in to help 2 years in a row, but it can be a good strategy.
Great.
You want to read one, Tim?
I will read one. All right. We're Synched Church. How do I add people to the city? Karen, I don't think you, have you started one off?
I just helped. But I can help with this one as well.
All right.
It might be a little bit difficult in this setting, this venue, to explain, but the key thing that we want to do is we want to keep all of the information as synced as possible. And so if we can drive our invitations from ACS to the city or through the city, that's probably going to be the best way. So if we go into ACS, people, click the sync button, go into the, I believe it's called Add People to the City. We have 2 options. We can add records to the city and invite them later, or we can generate our invitations right away. If we're doing this in the beginning stages, we probably want to do a quick search within that feature, pick the people that we're going to add to the city, and then once we go through that training process with those individuals, we can generate an individual invitation for each of them. We want to do that to get them into their separate groups. As we get to the end of our soft launch period, we might want to send out just generic invitations for people to join the church group, and we can go through that same process and this time select the option to just send invitations right away. But we do need to do that. I think the best way to do that, we can do it through the city organically, but the best way to do that is through ACS.
That's pretty much it.
Boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only thing to keep in mind is the strength, well, that's not the only thing to keep in mind, but one of the main things to keep in mind is the strength behind actually thinking through this invitation strategy is syncing as soon as possible. And when you send out those invites, understanding, just like you're saying, that the person who accepts it, because we already have information about the individual in people, I'm not going to have to start from nothing. My family's going to come in. All of those things will already be in. So you're less likely to have different duplicate and other issues. And so, yeah, really thinking through and making sure that the invite process is part of something that your core team takes time in thinking and not just clicking buttons, but really thinking through it. So it's perfect.
And I think going in stages, a common question that I get asked is, why wouldn't I just do a search on all of my active churchgoers and copy all of their records over to the city and then just invite them whenever? And I generally tell people that's not the best option, but to go take small bites and get people in as you need them in the launch process. Soft launch will take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Good.
All right, well, for the next Outside the Box episode, make sure you submit your questions through City Builders by just commenting below or sending them in through Twitter or Facebook, and we'll be happy to include them in the box for next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Woohoo.
Outro music is playing right now, so let's talk. Don't drink that, don't drink that, don't drink that.
Welcome to Outside the Box. Here's what it is, blah, blah, blah.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
Do we have to
Could you tilt that way forward, a tad closer?
lift your chin
There you
this
go.
way, bring your head
Well
this
done.
way? Can you please put your hands on top of the desk this way?
If I could get something a
Lean in
little
just a
more
little bit.
billowy.
Do we keep going?
Of course.
All right.